going to talk about
Ultimo
is a
Dragon
match that I knew of before.
Rey Mysterio.
Scotty too Hotty. Now listen. One of the reasons that I wanted to do Dean Malenko this week was because of this match. Because I saw this match a few months ago. Oh. I can't remember why I ended up watching it, but I ended up seeing it, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like, this is a great match." And you don't think of Scotty. You think Scotty too Hotty. You think a lot of things. One of those things isn't great matches, And so the reason I wanted to pick this and I wanted to talk about it is because, we're talking about Dean Malenko as a guy that worked super well with these quick, light cruiserweights that had this certain style, and they really complemented each other really well. But what I think you see in this is that there's more to it than that. There's the psychology, and it's a slightly different role for him, and there's something about this match which I think is quite special. Maybe it's just me that thinks this. I'll see. I'll ask you what you think in just a second. But I think there's something about this match which shows that Dean Malenko was not just one of those guys that could have great matches with great wrestlers, but he could take a wrestler who's solid but not known for memorable, really good matches, and he can elevate him to the next level. I don't know if this is Dean Malenko's best match, but I think this is Scotty too Hotty's best match. What do you think?
Before I get on to talking about this match, one thing that I know for certain is on this podcast, we do not disparage the good name of Scotty too Hotty. Dan, I'm going to take you back to 2009.
Yeah.
Our very first independent wrestling show that we ever attended. And people talk about British wrestling now and how amazing it is with main eventers like, Pete Dunne and Kaylee Ray and Tony Storm and, Will Ospreay and all of these guys. No. Back in 2009, we had the real main event. Falls Count Anywhere match. Scotty too Hotty versus Raven. That's what I'm talking about. We took the opportunity to get in the ring when they were brawling in the crowd. We were young. We didn't know any better. We didn't know that wasn't a smart idea. But we did it. And it was great. No regrets.
So did everyone else. By the way, Scotty too Hotty wasn't even supposed to be there last night. He was the replacement for Al Snow. Yeah, it was supposed to be Al Snow versus Raven in a hardcore match, but for whatever reason, Al Snow couldn't go. And Scotty too Hotty was his
we
replacement.
Lucked out. That's a much better match. I like Al Snow, but he's no Scotty too Hotty.
I tell you what you should have done. Which I bet you didn't do.
Pull the photo up.
Put the picture of us and Scotty too Hotty in the...
Me with my long hair, us looking paler than a ghost next to this neon orange human being. Spectacular times. This match is definitely, other than that match, is definitely Scotty too Hotty's best match. It's really good, and I think you get that in the crowd because if I'd have been in the audience at Backlash 2000, I've just seen the opener, Road Dogg and I think Billy Gunn versus Edge and Christian. I'm pumped after that match, and then I see Dean Malenko and Scotty too Hotty walk out. I'm going, you know what? This is a good time to go to beer, go to the toilet, and I would come back and be very disappointed that I missed that match. And there seems to be a moment where, I want to say 5 minutes into the match, the crowd are kind of like, this isn't over yet. And it feels like this match should be over, and it just keeps going and it keeps building. And, one thing I will say is you forget how electric the crowd are for the Worm. My God, people love the Worm. It's a great move. I mean, it's stupid, but it's great.
Oh, yeah.
And the crowd love it. This is brilliant.
Yeah, well, there are a couple of things. So the Worm, let's touch on the Worm because
Never touch on the Worm.
Exemplifies.
Never touch on the Worm.
I think if we touch on the Worm tells us why
Tell us why it's Worm.
the wise one tells us why Dean Malenko never ascended to that main event, fighting for
This is
the
it. This is why.
World Heavyweight Championship. It's why, because, you know, you realize that these moves, the worm, five knuckle shuffle, people's elbow, they're dumb, right? They're really silly, but they get over. And I think that's the thing that Dean Malenko just never worried about, or that's the impression I get. He never worried about, like, how am I going to get over? How am I going to get to this next level? I mean, he was such a proficient technician. Um, and I think he just relied. My impression is that I think he just relied on that. I'm going to be super solid. I'm going to have these great matches. And yet, a guy like Scotty 2 Hotty, who isn't that, really, when he hits that move, the match jumps to the next level. The crowd all of a sudden, like, they were into it. Now it's nuclear. Now they were into it. Now they are invested with everything that they have. Like the second match on the card, they're popping. They're excited. They're every near fall they're popping for. Like, the match just changes. And I really just love that because, like I said, I think it really exemplifies why Dean Malenko never got to that next level. As good as he was, he didn't have a worm.
I mean, I would also like to point out, Scotty 2 Hotty did not get over to that next level. Like, Otis is also not going to get to that next level. I don't know how Cena and how The Rock have gotten away with doing such stupid